Hey crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover and welcome back to my craft room. This is a video that was previously live on my YouTube channel and I've now taken it and edited it down into a shorter, more concise version just for you. So if you hear me read someone's comment or welcome somebody to the live, now you know that's why, but otherwise this is just like any other tutorial. So let's get into it. We are gonna make some super cute faux leather tassel earrings that I'm super excited to show you guys. Well, actually you guys can't really see my Cricut, so let's just go ahead and we'll talk through how to cut this stuff and then I'll show you how to assemble it because I wanna make sure that I give you a really good in-depth look at faux leather. And since you can't see my Cricut, I don't want to do that while you guys are up there. So I will do a recorded tutorial for that and I'll just walk you through it right now. So the first thing that I did, as you can see right here, is a test cut. So I always just insert a star shape from the basic shapes panel and I stick it up here in the corner. And this is actually a second test cut because the first one did not work. My faux leather got wrinkled and so there was nothing wrong with the cut setting. I just needed to adjust my tape. So I scooted the star over before I cut my earrings and it cut beautifully. And the faux leather, like I said, this is all from 651 vinyl. The faux leather cut great on just the faux leather setting using my fine point blade and my Cricut Maker. Now, if you have an Explore machine, you can also cut faux leather. It's really common for people to say, well, don't I need the Maker for faux leather? Or don't I need the deep cut blade or something fancy like that? But you actually don't. You can totally do it with your fine point blade, no problem. But you always want to do these test cuts because everyone's machine is always different. So always keep that in mind when you are doing a big project. Always do a little test cut up here in the corner. And then when I got to my tassel files, obviously I cut two because of the earrings and I just scooted everything over to accommodate for my stars. Another great thing to remember about faux leather is that even the tiniest scraps can usually be used for something. So you want to save as many scraps of your faux leather as possible. So I just moved everything up close and I probably could have gotten closer, but I wanted to make sure that my file didn't cut into my my test cut. So I just moved everything over and then I cut it all on the faux leather setting. And like I said, fine point blade on my Cricut Maker. And you can do the same thing on the Explore machines. Just make sure that you do a test cut so that you can make sure that you have the right cut setting before you go ahead and, you know, do a big project. If I had done a big project like this and my leather wasn't taped down, I would have ended up with a result like this and wasted most of my sheet of my faux leather. So whenever you are cutting faux leather, make sure that you have either like a fabric grip mat or a strong grip mat. Even the purple one works well, like just fine too, but I prefer the fabric mat because I've just found that that works really well. And whenever you lay your faux leather out, make sure that you tape the edges. So I would do it just like this. I would lay it out. And then I always, bare minimum, tape the top and this side. You can go ahead and tape the bottom and the other side if it's part of your project. If it's not, then I wouldn't worry about it. So I ended up taping, let's see, for this cut, I taped the top when I had it oriented like this. Let me make a little more sense here, y'all. When I did this cut, I went like this. And I had the top, the side, and the bottom taped. I didn't worry about this side because I didn't have anything going over here a whole lot. And that basically just holds the edges down. So it's not really giving you a whole lot of extra stabilization. It's just holding those edges down. And then it also keeps the blade from getting underneath that edge because obviously the stickiness stops at the edge of this mat right here. So let's say you had your edge hanging over just a little bit. If you didn't have anything taped down, that could cause this to get caught underneath your blade and mess up your cut. So that's why I'm super passionate about always taping down with painter's tape. And even if you go over your design a little bit, you can always, like the machine will always cut through painter's tape just fine. So you can use painter's tape and it's never gonna mess up your cuts, but it's gonna keep your stuff more secure. So then this is just a file that I found on Design Bundles. I absolutely love it because it has a bunch of different tassel lengths. So I'll be sure to share that with you guys when we're done with this in case you want to check this out for yourself. This is the smallest tassel file and then I just resized it in proportion with the tassel and this top rectangle because this is actually just going to wrap around the top just like this and make this super fun and stylish. But the little more tricky part is just assembling these tassels. They're super easy to do, but this is a little more tricky than the actual cutting part. So let's jump into that. I like using E6000 as my glue for tassels. I just like how strong it is, and I never have to worry whether or not the glue is going to hold with E6000. I'm sure that's not your only option, but that's just the option that I prefer. So that's what I'm gonna be using. Tassels are crazy easy, you guys. They're so easy, especially when you have a good cut file like this, where the top loop is already attached. And that's one of the reasons why I think it's really valuable to go ahead and purchase cut files. I know a lot of people like to use free files, and there's nothing wrong with free files. But one of the things I like about paid files is that a lot of the work is already done for you. And I am one of those people where I prefer, or I believe that time is money. So if I can spend a couple dollars and get a bunch of files that are really high quality and already done for me, then I prefer to do that. I just find that way easier. So yeah, and I guess another use that I have not done for myself yet, but I really want to do, is I would love to make this into like a pendant necklace. I don't know if you guys have seen those tassel necklaces that are super popular, but I would love to use this as a pendant for like a long fashion tassel necklace, earrings, necklaces, keychains, accents, all kinds of stuff that you can do with these fun little tassels. So they're super exciting. All right, so let's get into how to actually assemble the tassel, and then I'll show you guys some other ideas that I haven't done yet, but I've been thinking about, because God knows I'm always thinking of other ways to do things. By the way, I always like to work with a silicone trivet underneath where I'm working, whenever I'm working with something like super glue, because this tube is metal. When you start to squeeze it, a lot of the glue continues to come out the tip the entire time that you have the cap off. So I like to work in a silicone trivet like this because nothing sticks to silicone. So when I'm done, I can just peel the super glue right off of the trivet, and it's really helpful. So that's a pro tip for you guys if you are working with super glue, if you choose to use E6000 like I do. So the way that you start with your tassel is you're gonna start with this long end toward you. That's gonna be the little loop that is going to be used for jump rings. And so you're gonna go ahead and glue that down before you get started. You're welcome, Free W67. I know it's a pain in the neck, but it's a lot more helpful when you have something underneath you where you can just peel stuff off. Because you'll see, I had to get my husband to open this with pliers before I got started because the cap gets glued there, and then it's kind of a pain to work with, honestly. But this stuff is so strong that you always never have to worry about how long it's gonna last. So I'm gonna screw the cap off, and you'll see I just have to like dab it and then stick the cap back on, because otherwise it will go literally everywhere. It's kind of crazy. So, ooh, once you gotta squeeze really gently because a lot is gonna come out. You just wanna dab in the area that you need it. And then you don't wanna screw the cap all the way back on, but just a couple of turns to keep the glue from getting everywhere. Then you're gonna take this long area and you're just gonna double it back. But of course you wanna leave some room for your loop. So you don't wanna completely fold it over, but you wanna leave a little bit of space, kind of like this. And then I'm gonna hold it for a second and let it dry before we continue, because I don't want it to fall apart. But this makes it a lot easier when it's already glued down, and then that way it's in the center too. Because if you did it, if you started at this end and worked this way, then you would have this thing to deal with and it would not be in the center. It would look really funny. So I think it's best to start this direction anyways. And that's just how I prefer to do it. And then you need a little bit of a larger jump ring if you're gonna turn it into an earring. So I have these jump rings, and I honestly, guys, I have no idea what size this is or where these came from. But the little tiny jewelry jump rings that I got off Amazon, I am gonna use to hook the tassel to my earring finding, but I definitely need a bigger jump ring to actually attach the tassel to. So I'll show you guys that process here in a couple minutes. I just want to make sure that before I get started, I have a good foundation here and I don't let go of my glue too soon. All right, I think this is good. Then we're just basically going to fold over top where this tassel, or where this center area is. And I'm not going to crunch it up too much. I'm gonna leave that center part kind of open, but I wanna try to keep things even along this top as much as I can. But the nice thing is it's pretty easy to adjust. So you can always kind of go backwards and figured out. So I'm just rolling it up, like I said, keeping it even along the top here. And there we go. So it's not perfectly even, but it's pretty darn close. So I'm just going to get the flap and kind of keep it even with the other rolls before I glue it. I want to make sure that I'm happy with where it hits. All right, so I've got everything all rolled up, and I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue on the inside of my roll before I fold this over. So this is like way too much glue, way more than I wanted, but that's okay, because we're gonna wrap this little wrap thingy all the way around our earring, so all of this will go away, which is nice. So I'm just hanging on to the end of this, guys, because again, I don't want to let it go before the glue is at least a little bit set. But luckily, even though there's like this huge thing of glue right here, because I'm a sloppy mess with glue, I'm going to wrap one of these around it so you will never ever see it. I don't know about you guys, but honestly, like, adhesives are one of like my least favorite things because I am so sloppy with glue. I just have never been able to get it right. I'm terrible with hot glue, like any kind of glue basically. I just like to mess it up. So I'm always like trying to figure out how I can cover up my cover my tracks. So while I'm holding this down and just sitting here, because that's all I can do right now, I wanted to show you guys what I had thought for these little wraps. So I don't know if you guys know this, but you can use HTV on faux leather as well. Especially this pebbled texture faux leather does amazing with taking HTV. So one thing that you could do is use like some pattern HTV and put that over top of this strip before you wrap it. You could just do like a pattern instead of like a full wrap. You could do like some stripes or something with HTV. Another thing, so I'm obsessed with rhinestones. I don't know, we haven't really done any rhinestone crafts on this channel yet, and I don't know why I haven't, but can you guys imagine if you rhinestoned the entire thing after gluing it onto this earring? Like that would make it so sparkly and fun. But what I couldn't decide is if it was way too gaudy or not. I'm not sure how that would look, but it's something I really, really want to try. This is kind of thick in proportion to the tassel, so it might look better on the tassels that have like longer fringes, but I don't know. That was another idea that I had. Yeah, Kathleen, did that blow your mind that you can use HTV on these? Now you do probably want to like tone your heat down a little bit, tone your time down a little bit, because what I found is with putting HTV on faux leather, that can flatten the leather really bad if you put it in your press. So, you know, maybe if you're doing an HTV that applies at like 305, you know, maybe you do like 285 or something like that, and then maybe, you know, do like 5 seconds at a time or something so that you're not hitting it quite so hard, just because it's already pretty thin and you don't want to make it any thinner. But how cool would that be? Like that would be so cute. And now that I am saying this to you guys, I wish I had cut a strip of HTV and applied it before we got started, but that's okay. That'll give you some ideas to go with going forward. So yeah, so there's tons of fun stuff that you can do with this stuff. I have done some really pretty like pendant shaped earrings where I just did like a geometric, like a, I don't know, like a patch, I guess, of some electric peacock teal by Caesar. And seriously, y'all, it was so pretty. All right, so now that this is fairly set, because I've held it for a few minutes, I am going to put some glue on here. So we probably have enough glue that I can just use the glue from that's left over like that. Maybe I'll go over the seam a little bit. So I crossed over the seam a little bit so we're not starting and ending again on a seam, because we want to cover that seam up. And then I'm just going to wrap this all the way around. Try to keep it even again. And you're going to have a lot of overhang. So I am going to cut the leather right here. And that way you've got a little bit of an overlap so that, again, if you mess up with your glue, you're not, you know, in quite such a tight spot. So let's see if I can do a little bit better with my glue. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not optimistic, you guys, because I'm telling you, I've been horrible with glue like my entire crafty career. But we'll see what we can do here. Okay. So I've got a fair amount on here because I really want to make sure that this stays. But since I placed it in the center, I'm hoping that it won't squish out the sides. But we'll find out. And I mean, of course, you can always wipe it off before it gets too dry, but I hate to get super glue all over my fingers because that's just not a good time. Okay, so we did pretty well there. So it's a pretty good little wrap, and then we'll do the wrap on the other tassel, and then I will show you guys how to turn these into earrings. So now that I have my little wraps all set, I'm gonna show you guys how to turn these into earrings. So like I said, I'm using a larger jump ring than the little tiny ones. I ordered this little tiny set from Amazon and I love it because it has this variety of sizes, but I'm gonna attach the rhinestone to this, and then I'm gonna attach a little jump ring to my big jump ring to put it on my earring hooks. So I hope that makes sense. So there we go. So now we've got our bigger jump ring onto our tassel, and you guys can see the reason that I use this thicker jump ring is because the flap is a little on the thicker side, and I didn't want to squish my flap into my jump ring. That was a really professional way to explain that, right? I didn't want to have to squash it, so I wanted to use something that had plenty of room. And by the way, you guys, if you want to see the link for this, I got this on Amazon. I love this little guy because it's got so many different shades of jump rings. And then I found earring hooks that are basically the same colors. So I don't know if they're made by the same company or not. These are both from Amazon, so I'll have to link them in the description for you. But they're very, very similar. So basically every jump ring has a color of hooks that I can match with it, if that makes sense. So that's what I loved about this set. So I'm going to show you guys how to use the ring tool here in just a second, because the ring tool from 651 Vinyl is one of my absolute favorites in the world, and I think you guys need to see how to use it, but sometimes 2 pairs of jewelry pliers just gets the job done. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm attaching a smaller jump ring onto my bigger jump ring, and that will just give my earring hook a little bit more flexibility when, you know, the earrings are moving around and stuff. Because I don't know about you, but I hate when my earrings are super stiff. So I like to give my earrings lots of room for movement. All right, so I'm grabbing a couple of these hooks, and y'all, they are a little cheap. So I'm picking out the tarnished ones. If you're looking for some more expensive hooks, I'm sure there are some better ones out there, but a lot of the ones on Amazon are like this, where you have to sort through the little tarnished ones, but that's okay. Because you get so many in a pack that honestly, like, I don't know that I'll ever go through this many. I would have to be making a serious, like, I'd have to be on a serious earring kick to use all of these hooks. So I'm fine with a few tarnished ones. All right, y'all, I'm sticking my jewelry pliers are in the way. These things are so stinking tiny. Okay, I'm trying to capture, there we go. the jump ring on this hook. Oh my gosh. So now I'm gonna get this a little closer to show you guys. So now I had the little jump ring and the big jump ring. And then I'm gonna add my earring hook to the small jump ring up here at the top. So that's all I'm doing. And then I'm gonna show you guys how to use the ring tool now. So this is one of my favorite tools from 651 Vinyl. Seriously, I know it looks ridiculous, but it's called the ring tool. And what it does is you're able to replace having a second pair of jewelry pliers using the ring tool. So the way that you work it is you stick the little jump ring down in the slot, and then you're able to use that as leverage for when you go to close your jump rings. And it makes it so much easier. And because I have small hands, they come in just one size. They don't have different sizes, but it fits on my thumb. So for me, it's like so functional. I love it. Yay, Amanda, I'm so glad you love them. So yeah, so here's our final product. I'll do the other one too. But I just think these turned out so cute, and I love being able to just do so many flexible things with the faux leather. So this is the pewter color, by the way, that I'm using. I just wanted something general because I know that I will probably wear this the most. But the other colors that I bought are the navy, which is this color, the lavender, and then the this is the black and white leopard. So look how cute. Hold on, guys. I'll stand up and get you a little closer so you can see. I know it's really small, but I promise I will do a Zoom tutorial, or not a Zoom tutorial, a zoomed in version of this when I do my tutorial for you so you can see. So yeah, hope that gives you guys a little bit better of a look at that. And so remember, if you guys are just now joining us, that you can do so many things with this like outer wrap band. You could cut HTV the same size and you could put HTV on it to make it a different color or a different pattern. You could cut the wrap out of a different color of the faux leather if you wanted to. Like I considered doing like the black and white leopard as my wrap so that I could combine the two colors. You could rhinestone it. You could do a pattern with your HTV if you didn't want to do a full wrap. So there are so many ways that you can use these little wraps, and they're so much fun. And the file that I used that I dropped in the comments a few minutes ago has a ton of different tassel sizes. So it comes already with the wrap and the tassel size together, but there are different lengths of the fringes. So if you want to, you know, experiment with doing like some longer ones, or if you want to wear some bolder earrings, I usually keep them on the smaller side, but there's tons of options in that file, and that's what I love about it. What did you think of this project? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't already joined one of my crafty fams on Facebook, then I would love to have you be a part of them. So I'll be sure to link both of my Facebook groups down in the description. And since you've made it this far in the video, then I would love to get to know you on social media. So please be sure to find me at DIY Alex Vanover on pretty much all major social media platforms. And I'll be sure to put direct links to all my profiles down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, then be sure to subscribe to the DIY Alex YouTube channel and be sure to ring the bell so that you get notified every single time that I put out a new video every single week. But don't wait for next week's video. Be sure to check out this one next. Or if you want to make your DIY dreams come true, be sure to check out this video. I know that you're going to love it.